Good evening and welcome to Xbox Tavern's X-Pod Tavern episode 90th. I am Jamie and I'm once again joined by our friends, my good friends. Ladies' favourite Daniel is back. Huzzah!
I am back, ladies. Hello, welcome to the show.
Also MPV Graham.
Hello.
And of course the man that knows this whole new streaming world inside and out, Scottish Graph Ross.
Hello.
How are you all, gentlemen?
We're doing good this week.
Welcome back to our lovely podcast on the Sunday night at 8 p.m.
Ish.
Thank you very much. We're here to talk some Xbox news, Xbox games, and all sorts of fun things. So let's get into it, shall we, gentlemen?
Let's do this.
Let's. First things first, Ian's not here this week. He's out clubbing and raving away in a field somewhere. So I hope you're having fun, Ian. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks when you are back with us.
Oh, hang on. News just in. He hasn't had a shower. He's told me all weekend.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general, not just.
He's going to be ripe.
Yep, get that dig in.
That's the festival life now. That's the way we like to do it.
That's something anyway, that's for sure.
Cool. Well, while Ian's getting himself all dirty and nasty in a field somewhere, let's talk about GTA, shall we?
Let's do this.
As we said a few weeks ago, we're probably going to talk about GTA almost every week between now and the time it comes out. And it's come to light, according to renowned Rockstar reporter Tez2 on the GTA forums, that Rockstar's post-launch plans will include actual proper single-player DLC this time. His quote I'll read this that he's got here says, in reference to, they've said like GTA 6 will expand over time. And he says the expanding over time means Rockstar will go back to how they were planning future content before GTA Online success boomed. When GTA 5 released, develop on single-player DLC already started prior to release. That's how we found out all the audio files mentioned in casino opening soon and other activities. Additionally, Liberty City was being ported to 5, but very early stages of development. Obviously, both projects have been scrapped back in 2015. And then he says the first wave of new cities and missions we will receive as DLC will definitely be planned up before 6 releases, and Rockstar will be able to allocate resources towards whatever new title they will work on after 6. As for the new cities, I think for the most part we will receive instant new cities or islands like Cayo Perico or North Yankton style. That way Rockstar can introduce a new heist for GTA Online mode with each new DLC, and if we're lucky, we can receive fully fledged new city from time to time. So, gentlemen, obviously GTA 5 come out, massive success, but they got more caught up in the online wave of adding tons of DLC to the online side of things, but nothing for single player, which is a shame after Lost and Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony for GTA 4 was so good. Ross,
yes.
Would you like to see more single player stuff, or would you like them to just focus on the online side?
It's like what they introduced, obviously, with the multiplayer side having the all the heists and things like that they done, and the criminal enterprise pack and things like that for multiplayer. I mean, if they had done that sort of story based, so obviously you had X amount of heists during the main campaign of 5, but there was no reason why they couldn't have expanded on that and just had Trevor, Franklin, Michael do more heists, even bringing in Lamar, bringing in Michael's son, just random elements to it, and they could have added more heist type ideas, or they could have I don't want to go down too cliche, but add in a Trevor storyline where it was like Breaking Bad. Trevor went on his whole drug creating empire and stuff like that, and I know there was kind of touched on that with buying the airfield and stuff like that, but there was more scope to add to it. So if they'd done something like that, then that would have been perfect.
That would be nice. I think a lot of people before launch, you remember the tower in the middle of the city where it's under construction?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. It was, they're going to add to it over time and it will build up and eventually and they're still covered in tarp sheets and scaffolding to the 10 years later. Graham, obviously you enjoyed GTA 5 probably just as much as the rest of us. Yeah. Would you have liked to see DLC, and do you think...
Absolutely, yeah.
So you like to, going forward, you're not bothered about the online side of things?
Yeah, the multiplayer didn't really grab me as much. So yeah, having more content to play on the offline would have been, on the single player would have made much more sense. And I think it would have just kept a lot more sort of the fan base back playing that bit, because it's not everyone's sort of an online kind of fan of that bit, but they'll definitely get stuck into single player just because it was such an awesome game. So yeah, more offline content would have just been as awesome.
Damn right. And like I said, I think it was last week, we were talking about the Mount Gilead mystery. I imagine that was probably going to be part of the plans for DLC and increasing people's interest and stuff. But yeah, maybe we'll get some of that in GTA 6. Daniel,
Yes.
online side, single player side, where do you fall? Hopefully you'll fit in with us. Otherwise, we're gonna have some arguments here, I think.
No, I'm not. I never got on with the online stuff and didn't understand it. So I'm happy that there's going to be some DLC, single player. But it just makes me wonder whether we're going to see GTA 6 online, or are they going to leave the online as is and let that keep kind of evolving how it does, and they concentrate on the single player game, because obviously they'll then have to divide their resources to kind of look after the online side. Whereas if they leave it, they don't have to. That can keep going and bubbling away.
Yeah, I mean, even a divided Rockstar has still got more resources than most other people combined, you know.
And competent.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see something along the lines of Ballad of Gay Tony or Lost in the Damned again, because I felt like that, even though it used the same map, it added like new buildings and new areas, obviously new characters in that. And something like GTA 5, there was, as we said last week, that big like desert area. There was so much room for, like, you could have squeezed so much more stuff in, or build a tower up, or even put something out in the ocean or something. But all the online stuff, I'm sure, is great. And for those who enjoy it, good on you. But it's one of them things. By now, it's too late to get into. But if you are into it, then it's fucking awesome, because you're just getting constantly new missions and modes and updates and stuff. So obviously they haven't said where 6 is set yet, but the rumor is Miami, right?
I believe so, isn't it?
Vice City.
Vice City, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
As it said in the report, it's about getting extra islands or extra cities and stuff. Do you reckon they might eventually converge Los Santos and Liberty City and, say, Vice City again into one massive game where you can go between them, you fly between them, or even drive between them, perhaps?
Oh, the driving would be awesome. Like, I mean, you imagine like they combine the map of, I'm just thinking with the power that we've got in like the modern consoles, like the stuff where they're like Los Santos, San Andreas, Liberty City, like just that whole sort of like Vice City, one map. But like you see, you can jump on an airplane, grab a helicopter, drive, cycle, fuck if you wanted to. Just
That's
the
a long
sheer
old bike ride.
Yeah, it might be like Red Dead on a bike from one end of fucking the map to the other end.
Oh, taxi. No, taxi.
Pay like $6,000 in game to go from like fast travel. There we go. No, but like if they had like a map that size, that would be like ridiculous. That'd be amazing.
As the comment you put up on the screen there, our friend Ken Doyle says, I'd like PvE online stuff to play without all the griefing, which is another problem with online play. As much as the decent additions of new maps and missions and stuff, you've got to deal with people. Nobody wants to deal with that. So
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can go into the, what is it, non-conflict? What's it called? Non-conflict.
I think there's some sort of mode.
Passive mode.
Yeah.
Passive mode. Yeah. But then, kinda. Because obviously you don't want people just running around blowing you up with their Vindicator bikes zooming around all the time. But at the same time, you still want to be able to cause a bit of chaos if needs be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit like another game we'll talk about later on, where it could do with a bit more collisions. I could feel, and a bit more combat. But yeah, so we're obviously all looking forward to GTA 6. There's no release date, no real solid information from Rockstar themselves. But hopefully this rumor is true. We get a bit of single player. I mean, we're hoping for DLC. The fucking game hasn't even come out yet. But I hope that. But I want the next thing before the next thing. Yeah, so it'd be good if they get back to some single player DLC, because I would have loved some for GTA 5, like we said. As Graham said, such ripe for improvement, and they just don't worry about that. We're making too much money with all these bloody shark cards and heists that people want to go on. Fucking shark.
It's probably plateaued. That's why they've gone, do you know what? We need GTA 6 and shark cards.
Just refresh it a little bit.
It's not like it wouldn't have not sold, though. They still would have raked it in, even if they did release late. Sort of single player.
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't it the second best-selling game of all time by this point? And
it's
that's
without
the online side of things. You know, it's even the second or third. I can't remember, just behind Minecraft, I think. And yeah, so they've made plenty of money as it is, but then they've also made a shit ton on top of that with shark cards and whatever else as well. So yeah, so perhaps they'll reward us this time by giving us a bit of single-player stuff.
Yeah, there was one DLC. and that's it.
Yeah.
We gave you story DLC.
It'd be
Didn't say how
single
much you were
mission.
getting.
Single
Edge.
mission that leads into the online side of things. So you have to finish it
It's
off
actually
online.
just a tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Play it by yourself. Once you've completed it, you're then into the online world, and boom, that's you.
Well, speaking of a game that you can play by yourself, but you also interact with players when you're not expecting it, a certain game called Death Stranding is coming to Xbox Game Pass for PC.
Surely
in
not
just
that
a couple of
PlayStation
days.
exclusive that everything was just the best thing ever, and that's why Xbox suck, because they don't ever get games that good.
I mean, you must have been reading the internet, but that's about the one, I think. Reading off Pure Xbox here, it says, it's true. It's damn true. As hinted earlier this week, it's been confirmed that the 2019 Kojima Productions PC and PlayStation exclusive Death Stranding is officially coming to PC Game Pass on Tuesday, August the 23rd. And 505, who published the PC version, had this to say. The original version of Hideo Kojima's critically acclaimed and genre-defying epic lands on the Microsoft ecosystem for the first time, available to audience who are subscribed to the PC version of Xbox Game Pass. Death Stranding tells a groundbreaking story of perseverance through an emotional adventure that those in the Microsoft community can now experience for the first time. Huzzah! So, as Ross alluded to there, it's quite a lot of high praise. Obviously, it's not quite Metal Gear or even PT levels of praise, but it's still got quite a lot of love, especially when it's released on PlayStation first. So the version we're getting into Game Pass is the original version. They've since released a director's cut, or I can't remember what they called it. But that's not the version we're getting in Game Pass. It's just literally going to be the original one. But the idea, if you're not familiar, is you play as Norman Reedus, aka I can't remember his name in the game now. It's some
something.
Sam Bridges. That's it. Thank you.
That's the one.
And he
I should have gone with Sam Ladders.
Yeah.
Same
Well,
difference.
the idea is you're building bridges across America.
Bridges, yeah.
It's
You
very
unite the
direct with his
divided.
metaphors, yeah. And yeah, you're building bridges across America by taking packages, and if you're playing online, other players can like place bridges or ladders and stuff down to help you get past certain areas. So when you arrive at an area, you might find someone else already built the way for you, whereas you can build the way, and then other players will be able to use what you found, and so on and so forth. There's more to it. Obviously, there's a big story and combat and creepy babies and jars and stuff. It looks interesting enough. It's, I mean, I don't think this laptop I'm sitting on now is going to have a hope in hell of running it, but I'll try and give it a go, I think. Graham, I know you're not the biggest Metal Gear fan, but have you looked at this one? Does this sort of take your fancy at all?
I saw it when it first came out, and the whole piece, it seems kind of, there was a lot of stealth involved or guidance, and it kind of sort of steered me away from it as well. As soon as I saw the hiding elements and stealth elements, it's bloody hide and seek. Maybe play hide and seek on Roblox if you need to.
Oh, that's tempting. It's tempting. But it's not just hide and seek though. It's just carrying packages, and you've got to maintain this balance by using the triggers or something. I don't know. It sounds very awkward, but apparently it's very good.
Hide and seek delivery man. Yeah, just the
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I saw a comment the other day when I read about it, and someone was like, "I work for Amazon for a living. This is literally my job. Why do I want to play this?"
Yeah. Well, you enjoyed Lake so much, so balancing the post other than just delivering, it seems right up your ealley, Jake.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's quite as charming as Lake. Greatest game of 20.
Like a UPS simulator,
but
Couldn't do it.
oh, what a great game! We could talk about Lake for hours, but I was thinking about playing it again. But we'll get on to the story at hand. Daniel,
Yes.
does this take your fancy? Are you going to be checking out Death Stranding?
I'd like to try it just to say I've tried it because of all the hype and everything that was around it when it launched for PlayStation. But other than that, it just no. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, you know. You like what you like.
Yeah, my tastes are vanilla. I don't fancy getting a ladder and or carrying a baby fetus across America.
Ross, obviously you've already got a PlayStation 5. Have you played this before? Are you going to play it now if you haven't?
I haven't played it before. I have it on good authority that it is a fantastic game. Like Dan, it's not probably my cup of tea, but for the fact that I'm getting it included in my subscription, I'd be stupid not to at least give it a buy or give it a go based on one, recommendations for people that I know, and two, how well received it was when it came out. Obviously the visual side of it is spectacular. It's a beautiful looking game. The sort of mocap stuff, we obviously Norman Reedus, there's a few different people. The girl that was in it, she was a Bond girl in one of the most recent Bonds.
It's one with Mads Mikkelsen in it.
This got Mads Mikkelsen in it as well.
And what's his name? Guillermo del Toro is
Yes,
someone in
he's
it.
in it as well. So obviously having like the big names in it and how beautiful the game looks, I'll play it just to see that side of it. And if it turns out that it's actually enjoyable to play, then fantastic. If it's not my cup of tea, but I can still come away with some plus points, then like I say, it's including my subscription anyway. So I'd be daft not to pick up a game that's so well received.
Why the hell not? Especially if you've got a PC that can run it.
Yep.
Like I said, I'll definitely give it a go. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but obviously there was a bit of the internet as the internet is. Oh, why is it not coming to the Xbox as well? So as a 505 published the PC version, whereas Sony own the PlayStation version. So unless Microsoft and Sony can work something out, it's probably not going to come to the console, which is a shame. But the PC is a good start.
I just love how the start part of the like trailer that came up there, that obviously it was going to start saying about Game Pass, starts off with a Sony Interactive Studios production. Fuck you.
Like was it MLB? Get the old Sony logo up first. See, fusion fingers. Everybody's got to come together.
Yeah,
be friends. We could all
Why
play
can't
games.
we all
and
just
enjoy.
get along?
Yeah, just get along and play games you enjoy. But yes, this coming to Game Pass. What did I say? 23rd Tuesday,
23rd, yeah,
which is also Gamescom opening night live, which
that should be an interesting show next week.
Should be interesting there. They've already promised lots of world exclusives and premieres and all sorts of goodness. So we'll check that out on Tuesday, and we will talk about it next Sunday night at 8 PM ish. However, Game Pass is not done because this week was QuakeCon, not Gamescom, QuakeCon 2022, and obviously Microsoft now own Bethesda and id and all the studios that come under that. So they've added more games to PC Game Pass again, including an Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, which I must admit are two that I'm not entirely sure if they're. I don't think they're mainline ones, are they?
No.
I think they're like spin-off type ones.
Yeah.
But more importantly and more excitingly, Wolfenstein 3D, Quake Champions, which is a free game, but within Game Pass you get all the characters and stuff unlocked. Quake 4, which is fucking awesome, and a game I was very excited to see, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Gentlemen, has anybody ever played Return to Castle Wolfenstein?
You got to remember we're like considerably younger than you.
Fuck you.
Well,
great.
for me.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Return to Castle Wolfenstein, I played on the original Xbox, just after Xbox Live launch, and it was fucking brilliant, like online PvP shooter. And I had a quick go on the laptop the other day, and I was only having a very quick game because it was in the middle of doing other stuff. But yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. Definitely going to be checking out Quake Champions and Quake 4 again because I love Quake 4. But gentlemen, Graham,
Yeah.
why don't you tell me? Do any of these take your fancy?
Well, I was gonna have a look at some of the Elder Scrolls one, but I can't remember which one it was. But one of them was getting absolute pelters from the internet saying it was the one prior to not the Morrowind, but Daggerfall. It was like before Daggerfall, and they said it was utter.
It must be Redguard then, because like the other one seems like it's very side, like way off the side, whereas this one at least, yes, it tells you like the description for it. It's Tiber Septim has swept through Tamriel, uniting its squabbling lands by force. Even the mighty Redguards of Hammerfell have come under Imperial control. Cyrus, the legendary Redguard mercenary, leads a rebellion against the Empire, along with a faction known as the Restless League. Cyrus defeats the occupying forces at Thros Mackay and forces Tiber Septim to make peace with the Redguards. So it sounds like that's one that's more in line with the storyline. But yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots of it, and it's
yeah. These are like as Graham said, the old ones before Morrowind. So like 2D sprites and stuff rather than fully 3D adventures. But so you're not going to go check them out.
Yeah, you'd be foolish not to try them out, being an Elder Scrolls fan. But I didn't get on with Morrowind just because it lacked so much direction. There's only so much you can wander aimlessly before you get bored as tits. So, it's no harm in trying out some of these older ones just to see what they're kind of like. But it seems like the further back you go, the more direction is lost in those kind of games. You're just exploring nothingness, and obviously they had limited capacity, so there's more nothing around. So yeah, I don't want to traipse nothing forever. So, but yeah, I want to check them out anyway, see what they're about, see if they're worthwhile having a quick go on.
Because you've played the Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall, right? Before they're the original 1 and 2, I think, before Morrowind.
Not the arena. Daggerfall, I think I've dabbled in, but it's
think
not too much
they
in the
were.
memory, which is why I want to. That was prior to Morrowind as well, so
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
have another stab at that one anyway. The arena, I just want to have a look, see if it is something I remember, but it doesn't ring any bells.
Yeah, 'cause on here I sort of didn't read ahead far enough. It says both them two, Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall, are also on the Microsoft Store, but they're free to play. You don't need Game Pass to play them. And scrolling down a bit, we got Heretic, Serpent Riders, Hexen Beyond Heretic, and Hexen Death Kings, which are on the store but aren't included in Game Pass. So, what about yourself, Daniel? Anything here take your fancy?
No, far too old for me. I won't be joining you guys and trying any of these old games.
I would highly recommend at least Quake 4 because it's nice and simple to get into, and I think it's better than.
What are you trying to say about Dan?
I think it's better than Doom, but we'll just go for that. What about yourself, Rossum? Surely
Nah,
one of these.
I remember-
Not even Quake.
Well, see, I remember playing. Was it Quake Tournament? Was that one? No.
Unreal Tournament.
Unreal Tournament. I remember playing that, but it doesn't tickle my fancy.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Like I said, I would highly recommend Return of Castle Wolfenstein, at least the multiplayer side of things, and Quake 4. The rest, I mean, hit or miss, I suppose. But yeah, so again, more Game Pass stuff. Again, only PC for the moment, but I played Quake 4 and Return to Castle Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 3D on console. So hopefully they'll come to Xbox at some point in the near future as well. That would be nice. Right. Next story, please, gentlemen. Let's go with the Xbox One. Xbox One apparently only sold.
Why you have to have such bad news?
This one could be a nice quick one. Seemingly sold 50 to 60 million units last generation, according to some quote from the whole Activision Blizzard court file and stuff. They've had to divulge certain information, and apparently spotted and translated by Game Master court papers from August 9th. Discuss console sales and how Sony has a much bigger market share in that regard. And they say Sony has surpassed Microsoft in terms of console sales and install base, having sold more than twice as many Xboxes as Xbox, in the last generation. And they say, given that as of March 2022, Sony's final PS4 sales sit roughly at 117 million, that put Xbox One around 50 to 60 million units. I mean, everybody was shitting on it, saying, "Oh, they're not reporting it because it didn't sell very well." I mean, 50 to 60 million sounds pretty good to me, even though obviously it's way off PS4 or the highest numbers in history. That's still not a bad sale, considering how much shit it got for the first couple of years as well.
Yeah, well, the entertainment box.
TV.
Yep. And then they got rid of some of the decent features.
I used to love the fact that you could have one HDMI going into the TV, one HDMI going in the back of your Skybox, and you could just control your Sky through your Xbox. I thought that it lacked so many other things, but that, I was like, this is fucking amazing. I never need to move the TV channel ever again. I could be playing FIFA 1 minute, I can be in Sky Sports News the next. Boom.
And you could even snap them together, so you could have the game and have the TV up in the corner, And
then you could say to connect to switch the channel for you as well.
It was ahead of its time.
It was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for the gimmick that it was back then, but I didn't really miss it once it went.
Fun fact: I got to try out the Kinect on the 360. I was one of the lucky people that got a free Kinect.
I had a Kinect on the 360.
Yeah, but it was free, so I trialed it when it first came out.
Ones.
Right.
And I managed to get a free game. I think it was Kinect Sports or something daft.
Great
fun.
What was the one with the wall that moved towards you and you had to be in the position?
I can't think of that one.
That was one of the Kinect games for it.
Yeah.
So I just remember the baseball and the speedball where you're on the jet ski. Great fun.
It's easy to be nostalgic about Kinect now. I really liked it at the time, like we spoke about many times, but I'd like to see it come back at some point in the future. I was watching a program with the kids the other day, some like Netflix.
Gee, did you not fall apart using Kinect?
Everything. I was a bit more limble back then,
Just a stretch.
Yeah, I was watching a program on Netflix with the kids. It's a few years old, and it's like a sitcom, and the parents were playing some fighting game, and they had like an original 360 Kinect on the TV. I was like, "Girls, you know what that is?" And they're like 7 and 9. They're like, "What are you on about?"
Do you remember all the fitness apps that came with Kinect?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a UFC one.
Yeah.
A UFC trainer that worked with Kinect. I thought that was a dog's box. I was like, this is amazing. Training like a UFC fighter.
You could get the, as you were saying about the training packages, you got the T25 as well, didn't you? You could buy T25 on that. They had a fitness app Do you remember the fitness app? And you could buy T25 and do your T25 with.
Oh right, so like is that like Insanity?
Yeah, Insanity.
Yeah, you can do the Insanity on it as well.
Flipping hell. Great.
Where was all this chatter when Xbox was only selling 50 to 60 million units? Eh?
Exactly. Why were we not plugging the fitness app for the Kinect?
Oh dear. But yeah, so good times. Obviously, it's still told a lot. They haven't reported Series X, I don't think, officially, but it can't be far off of that. I wouldn't have thought at this point. They seem to be doing all right for themselves. But yeah, if you enjoyed that Xbox One, good on you. Good choice. And yeah, more consoles in the future, please. Right, last story, gentlemen. Embracer are back. Those people who seem to just want to buy everyone and everything that they could possibly get their hands on. And they picked up
this was a biggie.
Lord of the Rings and Hobbit IP, plus more from Eurogamer. So is there an easy list? Not really easy to know. So they've done the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings IPs. They've also picked up there was something else here. Sorry, I did read this earlier on, but I've missed it now. Yeah,
they've got a lot of different things. What was it? Tripwire
first
Interactive.
Japanese. Yes, that's the one. Sorry, Tripwire Interactive. Limited. Was it Limited Run Games that they picked up? Yeah.
Tuxedo Labs and Singtrix,
whoever they may be, as well as their first Japanese studio in Masahiro Yugi's Tetsujin, which owns the entire Toa Plan library. If that means anything to you, let us know in the comments below. Yes, they're buying shit up the front and center again. They've obviously recently purchased a lot of stuff from Square Enix, including Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, and some things like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more. Gentlemen, I mean, they seem to be buying a lot, but I don't see much coming out of them.
Well, they have said that, like, that wee bit at the bottom of the story, multiple announcements at Gamescom. So that'll be interesting to hear what they've got to sort of bring to the table when they drop that.
I mean, surely if they had enough to announce, they'd probably take up the entire of the show, wouldn't they?
Well, that's true, yeah, because what we're going to have all the different things from Lord of the Rings, all the different things from Crystal Dynamics, all the different things from Eidos Montreal and Square Enix Montreal, and all the other new parties that we've got. So we're launching about 90 games, so just book Gamescom for us.
Yeah. This year, presenting Embracer's Gamescom.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's not really much to say here other than the fact they brought up a load of normal people. I'm a bit surprised about Limited Run Games because they were like an independent company creating physical editions of limited edition copy of games. But I guess perhaps they'll partner with them to release a new Tomb Raider or Deus Ex or whatever on vinyl, as they do. So they're going to buy more people. I think they're basically like own about half the industry at this point, so maybe we'll keep an eye on them. But they're buying more things. Hopefully they'll actually get games made.
You know what I find hilarious is you've got Embracer doing this, right? And they're getting publicity for doing it. Nobody's kicking up a fuss about it. But if this was Microsoft had went and bought this, trying to make a monopoly. Oh, not going to be on PlayStation. Blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up.
Yes,
you
man.
Can't have one rule for one and one rule for the other. Just because Embracer don't make a console, they're still doing what Microsoft are doing. They're buying up the market. And yes, they'll send it out to Nintendo and PC and Xbox and PlayStation and Stadia and fucking GeForce Now and everywhere else. They're still doing the same fucking thing. Yeah, and at the same time, Microsoft have never said that their games won't be available on other things. But the difference is Microsoft are buying companies who not necessarily are on console at the best of the time. Yeah, they're buying Blizzard and things like that. Blizzard's games primarily, with the exception of Overwatch, are PC games. So you're never going to get it on PlayStation anyway. Yeah. Activision's the big one. Obviously, everybody's worried about Call of Duty. But Microsoft, on numerous occasions, have said, we don't plan on making it only on Xbox. There might be some incentives for it just being on Xbox. They've never actually said, yeah, we're going to get Call of Duty and good luck ever playing it on PlayStation.
Yeah, like we said, I think last week again. Just tracking Game Pass. Yeah, sure, but you're still going to release it on PlayStation. And things like Diablo and stuff apparently still coming on PlayStation. Well, so why?
Can internet
Don't panic. Don't panic, everyone. Don't panic. So
need to.
Yeah. So again, not much to say really other than the fact they bought more people, but hopefully we'll see some decent games at some point from them, including next week at Gamescom when it starts on Tuesday at 7 p.m. at UK time. Is that right? I think that's what I think so.
They're setting it up for a big reveal that it's going to be Embracer Group is actually a child product of Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft by Embracer Group.
Yeah,
Fucking
it was us all along.
shockwaves.
Just a little cryptic thing.
That's one way of doing it, eh? Saying hello to BX Latino. He says hello to my favorite podcast, Xbox Tavern. How is everyone doing? We're doing fantastic. Hope you are too, sir. Yes,
Thank you for joining us on
Twitch
Twitch
and saying hello in the Twitch chat. And you can do the same on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Just find the links below or
scrolling at the bottom of the page.
Tavern.
Oh, in fact, did I put Twitch? I don't think I put Twitch, but it's Xbox Tavern.
Yeah, Xbox Tavern. So you can find us and drop some comments and follow us and all that goodness stuff. And speaking of plugs, Ross, why don't you? I've started the plug, but if you can just finish,
I'll just get it
plugging
right on in there.
That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Just make sure it's completely plugged in there.
We don't want anything seeping out now, do we?
Well, nobody likes a leakage. I'll let Dan recover. Right, where will I start? We'll start on Discord. Link will be in the show notes. Place getting a little bit busier. People jumping in about our Game of the Year chat, which we have quite a few answers from coming up shortly. Yes, social media, you can see it on the ticker run along the bottom of the screen just now. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, whatever it may be. Xbox Tavern or Xbox Tavern Official if it doesn't come up with that. You'll find our reviews on the YouTube channel as well, whether it be game reviews, Dan's really helpful tips in regards to the Microsoft reward scheme, whether it be easy points, how to actually redeem, auto redeems, and things like that.
Some more coming soon.
Boom, that's what I like to hear. Written reviews, I'm sure G will have a list of ones that are going up on the website this week, will be found at xboxtavern.com. You can find us on all major podcast apps, but the main two that we usually go out on is Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. If you could give us 5-star reviews on that, that would be great. Gives us more exposure, more people listening to the show, makes us grow, allows us to put out better content for all our adoring fans. Spreadshirt, few designs up on there. If you want to pick up some merch that helps us, that would be greatly appreciated. Like I say, we've got a few different designs. Dan's got some of these chocolate bear designs up there as well. Currently running a little competition on our Twitters, so I will let you have a little share of that just now if I pop it up on the screen. So our good friends over at Wellsphere are giving away 2 Xbox codes for Oxide Room 104, and as you can see in the link just there, all you need to do is follow ourselves at Xbox Tavern, follow Wellsphere, and also comment your favourite horror game below. Note to everybody that just put a comment for it, if anybody puts anything other than Silent Hill 2, you're wrong and automatically disqualified for the conversation. So just a little FYI if you do want to win.
Sometimes it's hard to understand Ross's accent. What he meant was Resident Evil 2. Sorry.
But as you can see, there's been quite a lot of input in that regards. A lot of people have put in their favourite horror games. Some fantastic shouts. Resident Evil, Madison, Biohazard. Probably one that I would have said had I not said Silent Hill 2 because I thought that was a really good game. Resident Evil 4, Fog, and Silent Hill. So you'll see a lot of the big classics, but there is some ones that are maybe not as well known. Fatal Frame, fantastic game. Wasn't maybe as mainstream as the rest of them, but as you see, there's quite a lot of games listed on the beneath that you can add to if you want a chance to win the competition.
Nice. And it's running until the 27th, right?
It's running until the 27th, yeah. So, like I say, 2 winners, and contest ends on Saturday, the 27th of August. If you want to support us with your hard-earned cash, we also have a Patreon page. So www.patreon.com/Xbox Tavern. Big shout out to Beth, our superstar supporter, who is, if I'm right in saying, at the 6-month mark. So she is due a T-shirt coming her way as well.
Yeah, either this month or next month. I need to
this month.
log
so
in.
There is a T-shirt in lieu, put it like that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the perks for signing up for our Patreon. We'll do sort of giveaways such as like your T-shirts. I think after X amount of time it goes up to a hoodie, and there's also certain content that will but put behind the Patreon thing. I think there's plans for a Patreon refresh, so you'll start to see more and more features going up onto the Patreon. So if you want to see these things, whether it be Dan's little previews for his Microsoft points, reviews that we maybe put up there first and a wee bit later on the YouTube channel, then join us on patreon.com/Xbox Tavern. And last but not least, our good friends over at no, not Xbox, Insert Coin have got a promotion on just now. You're getting £5 off offers over £50 if you use promo code Xbox Tavern 20. So it was 20% off with that promo code, but they've changed it now. So it would be £5 off all overs over £50.
And as we always say,
I think
we're massive fans of
I was going to say, Jay rocking the merchandise with the Hello Darling. Is that Watch Dogs, am I right in saying?
That is indeed. I got this in a bundle that they do every now and then. They do like a £5 mystery option, and you just pay a £5 and you get a random T-shirt. This is my result. Thank you very much. There you
go. So jump over to Insert Coin. They have some amazing stuff. The Mass Effect range is brilliant. Hoodies, joggies, slippers, T-shirts, the pajamas, the pins that they've got. Sure, Jay, you picked up the Tammy, didn't you? Tammy hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tammy.
I mean, I've got several of them.
Beanie. Sorry, I'll call it that. I'll call you American English.
In English, please. Yeah, got beanies, T-shirts, jumpers, joggers, socks, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, they do great stuff. So, I'm waiting for it to get cold again so I can wear my Mass Effect ones.
Well, so that's far too hot for a hoodie on in this weather. So I will jump back into my Mass Effect hoodie when it gets a little bit on the chillier side. But that is us well and truly plugged for the week.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. And as always, anyone who can support us in any way, much appreciated. We love you all. And thanks.
Doesn't need to be monetary, even just like and follow.
And just a comment down below saying hello. That'd be lovely. Like Beth, Bix, Latino Heat, and indeed our good friend, who's Ken Doyle.
Jay's getting mixed up. So many comments.
I can't even remember my own name half the time. Right. So
the age will do that to you.
Now we're all plugged up. We can get into our next bit of the show, which is our Xbox Game of the Years throughout the years. If you're not familiar with this segment, we look back through Xbox history, and every year we pick a game from that year that would have been our Game of the Year, and I say year again for the hell of it. We're now up to year 2014, or as Ian would say, 2014.
Can't believe Dan stole Ian's, even though he's not on the show this week.
So I'm going to read Ian's one quickly, just to sweep the rug out from Daniel.
Wait, because they two have tied in the same one, so I can kill two birds with one stone.
I tell you what, Daniel, why don't you tell me about it, and then I'll read Ian's answer.
So I was just going to say, it's got to be the correct answer of Titanfall, surely. The game that everybody was like, oh my God, there's no single player, it's all online.
But it's fucking awesome.
It was amazing. The way that you could drop a Titan and squish either someone else's Titan or someone's pilot. I think for me, when this game came out, it was revolutionary.
Dan loves when something big and hard lands on him.
Oh, God. Square on the head. I thought this was a great game. Yes, all right, it had some faults being multiplayer only, and you couldn't kind of single player. It had to be online only, and etc. in with the kind of the Microsoft and Xbox TV entertainment always online. But the game was absolutely amazing, and especially when you first jumped into your Titan and those 3 panels just kind of loaded up, and you were like
it is in the trailer right now.
Yeah, timed that perfectly. Oh, boo.
Oh, no, I didn't show it, but
didn't show it, yeah, but just how they came out and you were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Just a great game. And then jumping in and throwing in a grenade and blowing up the Titan. Awesome game. Absolute awesome game.
What a fantastic game.
I must admit. Sorry,
you go first, Ross.
I was just going to say, when it first came out, obviously the no single player was maybe a small issue. I'm playing the online mode and Titanfall with the wall running and stuff like that. The game was fucking incredible. It was an absolute belter of a game.
Yeah, it was superb.
I think I said before, but the EGX the year before this, I went there and I waited 2 hours in the queue to play it. Fucking brilliant. I didn't mind waiting 2 hours.
Not disappointed.
It was tremendous, and it's the reason I got my Xbox One was to play Titanfall. I got it at launch, and I played it every night for months mostly with Ian, and he talked me into buying the DLC once they'd all come out. I was like, I don't really want to buy it. I don't, by that point I sort of fallen off a little bit, so I picked it all up for like 20-30 quid, whatever it was. Literally 2 days later, like, DLC is now free. God. Mugged me right off. But yeah, what a fantastic game. Like I said, Dan, when you drop the Titan down, jump in it, you get the panels come up. and then jumping out of your Titan, and it's still sort of following you, fighting alongside you, or
you could have it
defending
too,
or...
couldn't you? You could have it defending you, or you could have it go off on its own to do whatever carnage it wanted to do.
And then it, like ejecting when it was about to explode, and then falling back down on the opposing team's Titan and ripping the battery out, and like you said, blowing it up. Oh,
could you not make it like a I'm getting this mixed up with 2. Could you not like set it as like when you ejected it, like rocketed forward? Like you could aim it at one of the other Titans.
You could have it blow up as you press. So there was certain perks. There was 2 perks, I think. One where it could explode and do like a bigger amount of damage. I don't know if that was 2, and that it was certain Titans which could come forward and be like
Can't remember. I just remember like some of the times I'd played it. Like some like being wiped out by a Titan all of a sudden just appearing out of nowhere.
It was such a great game. Such a great game.
Or trying to land your Titan on someone, you're like, motherfucker, you just moved. Oh, so close.
But even then, like you come running around a corner, all of a sudden you met with some the other team's Titan. You're like, oh shit! And the wall running and bouncing back and forth and using the grapple hook. Oh,
yeah,
what a fantastic!
Just doing
game.
About turn run, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, because this obviously was from Respawn, which formed out of former Call of Duty devs when they all split up and stuff. And it very much felt like Call of Duty, didn't it? But on steroids with the robots and the wall running and the weapons that were just fucking tremendous.
Yeah, I think you had the core mechanic of the gunplay kind of Call of Duty, and then, as you say, everything else, kind of the movement of the pilots with the jumping and the wall running, and you were just like, oh my god, this is... Oh.
Even just watching that trailer there, I'm like, I just want to play it now. But as I understand, because it's sort of been abandoned, as it were, it's just full of cheaters and hackers and stuff now, so it's not even worth trying to get into a public game at this point.
Was there not an issue with Titanfall that the something about it was bricking consoles? So I think
that was 2. Wasn't it?
Was that 2?
Because then they started attacking Apex Legends to try and get them to concentrate on Titanfall for some reason.
Do you think? Well, I don't know why they never had like a bigger. I thought that would have maybe been tied in with Apex, because obviously it's in the same world, but they never actually really built. You thought they could have done something with it, even if it was just like a limited time event.
There's something coming, isn't there? There's talk of there's a single player game coming out of Apex, whether that ties in
really?
2. Yeah. One of the writers from Apex has moved on to another project.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll get some more Fusion Fingers togetherness at some point soon. But yeah, if you missed out on Titanfall when it came out, you missed a fucking great time in gaming, because that was...
It was an awesome title.
In top tier. And to be honest, I would agree with you. I would have picked it as well if it hadn't been for you and Ian picking it. Ian says, though, I'm going to read his answer out and then we'll go to someone else. Yeah, he says, this game is fantastic and such a joy to play. I think I must have synced, I guess he meant to put there, hundreds of hours into it. The way you can change up your game by either going for AI for score or being amazing in your Titan. When they added the Fortress Defense mode, it made the experience even more fun. I'm going to choose that. That's what he's wrote there. I forgot about the AI pilots, because it wasn't just players, was it? There was also AI players as well, which you could kill, but you got less points for them. But it's still, even if you were shit at the game, like, was it 3 points? Something like that. Even if you're shit like I was, you could still get contribute to the team, and then until you got better, obviously, and then you could start killing pilots. But yeah, what a great game! Nice, right? Titanfall is the correct answer. However, there's some solid runner-ups, including Graham's.
Yeah. So my choice was seemed to be sticking with the RPG theme, but I picked Dragon Age Inquisition. Not exactly the top one in the whole Dragon Age series. Definitely better than the second one. But it's just a game I sunk a lot. Well, probably the most hours into that year. It followed the same kind of the good things of what made Dragon Age good from the first one. I think it evolved a slightly different sort of combat element, and I think I remember this one being much tougher than what the first 2 were as well. This one.
Do you find that I found the first one like more difficult? I don't know if that was. Thing is, I don't know if I found the first one more difficult because I was an inexperienced gamer in that type of genre, or if it was generally more difficult. But I remember playing the first one and really struggling, and then on this one, I think I more understood what like a role was. So like obviously, if you went for like a mage, you needed like tanks in your squad to make sure that they were doing the most of the work up front, while you could sit back and do whatever you had to do, whether it be healing or like restricting the enemy. I think I understood it a lot more than I did the first time I played that sort of game. But it could very well be that this was actually harder.
It also in this one, because you really did that balancing you're talking about was much more prominent in this one. The first one, you learnt the lesson quickly. You couldn't just go gung ho mad.
Yeah,
you had to play a bit more cautiously and adjust the team accordingly. Whereas this one purely was you couldn't go out with a half-assed team because you would learn that lesson very, very quickly. And it just felt a bit that element more tougher because it had a good way of sort of making you buy into all the characters in your kind of team. And sometimes you just build a one that that makes you laugh more, or a bit more of a comedic element, or you just have a better affinity with. But you can't just pick all the ones that you like because sometimes they just don't work together and you get hammered. So you could amend your character to sort of fit around that kind of team, but it's just one that just really made you think about the team you wanted, not the same, in the same vein as like with Mass Effect. You could kind of pick the ones that you like the most because you could just work around them. Whereas this one, that choice wasn't the same. You kind of had to pick the right team for the right moments to sort of tackle some of the enemies.
Yeah, I think the only like you're saying with the Mass Effect thing, the only real thing that Mass Effect you had to watch with your squad is only really in Mass Effect 1 was like if there was, and the mission I remember specifically for was when you were in like Exogeny, there was certain computers that you had to have a high enough electronic skill to hack.
Oh yeah.
That was the only real thing you were ever considering when you were picking your squad. 95% of the time, it was like, cool, Rex and Garrus. Oh, yeah, but you've no biotics. Who gives a fuck?
Pretty much.
I've got the two coolest characters. That's all I need. Or I've got Talia and Liara. Well, they're quite like weak. I don't care. They're cool as fuck. Yeah, you never picked your squad based on, oh, this could be difficult. I'm facing a lot of organics. Therefore, why would I take somebody who had like tech skills? No, you just picked who you wanted.
Yeah, so you couldn't cheese the game. So if you picked like a team full of tanks, then there's going to be sort of high magic users or flying users that just ended up rinsing your tank. So you had to have a way of tackling a ranged person or a magic user to help tackle the other magic users or the ones flying in the sky. You couldn't just bring completely all magic characters because they're such low health that they just get smacked to smithereens quite quickly. So it literally was a lot of balance involved in. For a game that's sort of an RPG with a lot of kind of battling involved, it just really sort of made you think a lot more around that piece rather than just absorbing the story. It just had that nice balance between the both of the story and the action. You couldn't take either of it kind of lightly. And most of you guys, I don't think you were massively keen on it, just didn't really think much of it. But I quite liked it. I sunk a lot of hours into that one.
I loved the Inquisition. I thought it was a fantastic game. I completed that a few times. I like the whole like base element. So obviously once you're in, it's an old enough game, won't be spoiler. Obviously you start off at your initial area that comes under attack. You then move and you go to like this big massive stronghold. Being able to obviously upgrade that and things like that, all your characters in like the base area, almost like Fallout type idea, or even the Normandy where everybody's in the same area and you can go and interact with them all and things like that. Yeah. I thought that was great. I love the backstory with I can't remember which DLC it was. Obviously, what's the second one?
I'm not sure if I played much of the DLCs.
What are you called in the second one?
Not Hawk.
Yeah, Hawk's the character, but it's what you are in the second one. You've got a name. But basically, the whole storyline is obviously Varric tells the story that Hawk's dead.
Yeah.
To try and get away from whoever's hunting him, whatever it may be, and obviously that then transpires that it's not the case, and then he comes into the game, and then there's everything on this, so it's like tying all the games in quite good. So I really enjoyed that game. I think the only issue I had with Dragon Age, if I remember correctly, was it came out in obviously 2014, and I'm sure the issue with that was quite shortly afterwards The Witcher came out. So I always think that those two games came out really close together, and all I can think of if I'm picking a slashing RPG, nothing beats The Witcher.
I know you're a massive fan. It was never going to beat that one, but
Yeah, but
Wonder
if
what
I'm
your answer will
looking
be
at it,
next week.
yeah,
fuck knows. But if you're looking at it as just the standalone, like the game by itself, Inquisition was fantastic. I loved the game. Really looking forward to what they do with the next one. Obviously, like I say, the DLC does a really good job of tying in like a lot of characters, because obviously there's a DLC with Morrigan, and that she's in it as well. So, no, I think that I've got such a love for the first one because it introduced me to that style of game. Second one had good elements to it, but it's the weakest of the three. Inquisition sort of ties in all the good parts for the first one, the good parts for the second one, and it's not an ugly looking game either.
yeah. No, I agree. It was definitely Dragon Age 2 ODST, and then Dragon Age Inquisition.
You know the thing that I hate the most on Dragon Age 2 is every cave was the same.
It was all brown and shit. Right, let's move off Dragon Age 2 because that's shit.
I
don't need to talk about that part
of
of
Dragon Age, yeah.
But yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition, very good. Obviously, you enjoyed it very much. Game of the year. I went on special guest Pete's recommendation to at least get out of the hinterlands. It gets good then, and I got out of the hinterlands and I turned it off, never touched it again. So
it's quite good
so
when
sure
you
it gets
go.
very
What
good.
is it, Val Royale?
Oh,
That's quite a good bit when you go there as well.
yeah. So I mean, I'm never going to go back to it. So that's the end of that one. But anything
I
else?
feel like
Ray, before we move on?
that's a new segment for the show for next year. All of us play a game that we would despise normally.
Well, we'll see.
I don't
We'll
know
see.
where it head.
Graham, good ideas for you, right? Ross, now that you finished telling us about Graham's answer, do you want to tell us how you want?
Fuck you, Jay. Fuck you. I went for a game with one of the most unique systems in any video game ever. I went for Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor. That whole Nemesis system, man, what a fantastic creation that was. Just doing your own thing, wandering the map, and then a guy you killed 3 hours ago sees you, has scaled up in level, wants to take you on. Oh, it's
He comes back with a bandage all over his eye or his
exactly,
arm
and
missing or
remembers you, and like remembers how you killed him, and it's just such an amazing system. Like the way that they implement it, and then especially going into the second one as well, where you can actually create your own army and things like that. It was something completely unique that's never really been replicated in video games. Adding in the story of, obviously, it's not set way before or way after the films. It just shows a totally different side to the films. So obviously everybody knows about Sauron, but then you see like the mouth of Sauron, the teeth, like just seeing all those different parts of Mordor. Because obviously all you see of Mordor in the film is when they sort of come in, heading to the Great Eye, Mount Doom, and that's all you really see of Mordor. So actually getting to see it sprawled out in the video game, the little bits of Mordor that you go in the game where the corruption hasn't reached and it's still the elves and things like that. The storyline, obviously telling you about the creation of the rings, how Sauron managed to like corrupt the elves and things like that. It's just, Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite movie franchises, but probably, with the exception of like the trilogy films and Battle for Middle Earth, which is the strategy game, it's probably one of the best not film adaptations, but one of the best movie-based games that I've ever played. And then obviously spawned a brilliant sequel as well. But no, Shadow of Mordor was a brilliant game.
I will concur with that. It was it sort of played like Assassin's Creed meets Lord of the Rings, I guess. But
free roam type idea. You had the ability to be a bit more stealthy. You could use the environment for kills, or you could go in all guns blazing and just sort of mow everything down if you chose.
I mean, I could not give less of a shit about Lord of the Rings, but I really enjoyed this game. Graham, you played this one as well, didn't you? Quite enjoyed it?
I did. I loved this first one. I completed the first one. I haven't completed the second one, but I have done a good check way through it. Yeah, no, I loved the Nemesis system as well. It was pretty decent, and it kind of you could Was it you could do little bits beforehand to work out what their weaknesses were or
Yeah.
their strengths were? To
So
try
like if you had the head honcho up here, you could like kill 3 guys below him, and then they would tell you like his location, what his weakness was, and if there was a certain thing that you could use to kill him easier. And it was like, oh, okay. So it made it worthwhile killing all the little minions to get to the big guy.
Could you not also like plant your own guy? Like I forget. What
You could convert them. Type idea.
You stick your hand on their head and
then you sort of work them up the ranks so they could
they killed above them.
Yeah.
And then you could obviously you could sort of call on them to come and help you when you went and take down the big guy.
Yeah.
It was like I say, it was such a unique system. Like I say, nothing's really touched it since then.
I think the last rumor I saw was the next implementation of that Nemesis system is going to be in a Wonder Woman game, which I know nothing about Wonder Woman, but I don't imagine it's going to have quite the same effect as a Lord of the Rings, like this style game.
It depends how it does it. It kind of, you need to know what the whole storyline around that kind of
is. And that's the problem with it. Like, because in like Shadow of Mordor, I know what orcs are. I know what Uruk-hai is. I know what like the wargs and that are. Yeah. I don't know fuck all to do with like. I don't know if I'm hunting down a fucking certain Amazonian, if that's going to be like beneficial to my fucking cause. And I don't think that's the right way to implement it.
Well, if it somehow works into getting Gal Gadot to be chasing me around, I'm not gonna.
Feel like if it's a Wonder Woman game, she's not going to be chasing you around.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
Leave
my beanie.
You caught me again.
Why have you got a whip? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Use your lasso of truth. I'll tell you.
Dan, that's sad you knew that.
I love Wonder Woman. Who doesn't love Wonder Woman?
Nice. Well, there we go. One fan looking for the Nemesis system in Wonder Woman. Nice. Thank you very much. I suppose my turn now, isn't it? And I had several options, including pretty much everything everyone's listed so far, except for Dragon Age, because I already mentioned I didn't like it very much. But I've gone for the 2014 reboot of. No, that's not right. Let's go with Wolfenstein New Order.
Oh,
that's not what you put.
But I think I've looked at the thing and it's gone wrong. I did originally pick Tomb Raider because I didn't come to Xbox
You're going
One.
for Tomb Raider and dealing with it.
It come to Xbox One in 2014, but I'm pretty sure the original reboot was on 360 in 2013. But we're going
for Tomb Raider. You had it last month. And seeing as I've only got fucking Tomb Raider up on your screen, you're dealing with fucking Tomb Raider.
We're going with Tomb Raider. Fuck it, why not? I've balls this game up already.
Do you mean Tomb Raider or graphic Lara Croft killing simulator?
That's the one, yes. So I enjoyed watching her get impaled on many spikes and
falling off cliffs,
hundreds of feet to her death and being mauled by all sorts of creatures and stuff. But yeah, this Xbox One version, it upspuffed the graphics quite nicely. It gave us some funky hair if you had the ability to.
This is definitive edition, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it looked fucking brilliant. It played brilliant. I loved it. Absolutely tremendous. I thought it was a brilliant reboot and reimagining of Tomb Raider.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this.
It took a lot of inspiration from Uncharted in terms of the mechanics like combat and climbing and stuff, but it kept it very
climbing up the plane part.
But it kept it very authentic to Tomb Raider as well. Even though you weren't strictly raiding tombs, it still had that sort of almost British feel, I guess. Even though it was made by a bunch of Americans, I think, like a very British feeling in the way it dealt with everything, and it was just fucking brilliant. I loved it, and I think the sequels, which we'll get to obviously later in the years, were good, but I still think this is my favorite out of the reboot trilogy they did.
I enjoyed this one. This was good, but I didn't play it for good few years after the game came out. I think it was in Game Pass, wasn't it?
It was in Game Pass, and it was also Games with Gold at some point, I believe, as well. Really, really, really good game. I'm going to give a couple of shout outs. I know no one else has done these, but since I kind of balls up, I'm going to go for it, including Wolfenstein New Order, which came out this year and was again a kind of a reboot of the Wolfenstein series. What a fantastic first person shooter. Has anyone else played it?
5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Can't remember New Order.
Silence. Anyway, fucking
the one
brilliant.
You could stop time?
No. This was like literally just first person shooter, Nazi killing. But the combat was awesome. The story was actually quite effective, like I told of BJ Blazkowicz and his trials and tribulations. And even though it was very like a popcorn flick stuff, it had a lot of heart and a lot of like I generally got quite invested in what was going on, and that went through the whole series. Really, really good game, really good shooter. And then Evil Within as well, which was the first game from Shinji Mikami's new studio, obviously the guy who created Resident Evil. And I wasn't a big fan to start with. The first hour or so, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. This isn't Resident Evil, obviously. But by the time I finished it, I thought it was fucking brilliant. Messy as fuck, like really head trippy, but really, really good game. So, yeah, good games all round. So
I do apologize. I have played New Order. I couldn't remember which one it is I had played, but I do remember it now just as I'm reading a certain point about it, and it was saying during the train ride. So, yes, this is the one I have played.
Yes, and
the
they're
gun
all
on
great.
the table.
Yeah, it's such a great game. Really,
this
really
was
good.
a fantastic game.
And if I'd actually looked at the correct list, I would have picked that. We're going with Tomb Raider because I've picked Tomb Raider.
The first part of this game is severely fucked up, where these are all in the little chamber together. Yeah.
Yes, and there's later bits where it's even more messed up. But we will get to that
angle
when we talk about other games and bits and pieces. However, that's, as I said, our the Xbox Game of the Year throughout the year of 2014. Next we'll do 2015. So if you've got a Game of the Year for Xbox in 2015, if you want to drop it in the comments or hit us up at Xbox Tavern on Twitter, or we generally put a question up during the week and reply to that, and we'll read it out next week on the show. Much like
good segue.
A lot of our community people who've replied.
We had
Thank you very much, everybody. We had a lot of responses this week.
2014 set off a lot of people.
Yeah, so mostly from Discord. So thank you everybody in the Discord for applying. I'll go through them very quickly. So Morbid, our good friend Jake from the site, says The Evil Within. Good choice. Our good friend Corey says it's a toss-up between Destiny and Titanfall. And Risky the Kid seems to agree with the Destiny part there. Brian H93 says Destiny. AJ Small from the site, another Xbox Tavern contributor, says Titanfall for him was a banger. The Evil Within was also excellent. His vote might go for Thomas Was Alone, though, which was also a fucking brilliant game. I didn't play it till much later on, but yeah, really, really good game. It was a 2D puzzle platformer, as he says here, that had a story that made me care about a bunch of pixels. And I don't know if anyone of you guys have played Thomas Was Alone, but it literally is, you got a square, a rectangle, a triangle, and a circle, I think. And even though it's as simple as that, it's a great story, great puzzle, great platforming, excellent. And he says, tongue-in-cheek nomination for Rambo, the video game. Hilarity bad on-rail shooter with lines cut straight out of the film. I've heard a lot about it. I've never played it, but yeah, I understand it's pretty shit. And JB on the Discord again says, the only correct answer has to be The Evil Within. Very good. And our final response this week, it comes from the one, the only, the special guest Pete, who says, what does he say here? Oh, of course, Dragon Age Inquisition. That's surprising literally no one. However, he wants to give a shout out to Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, Rayman Legends, and Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor as well.
I love the fact that he adds all the pictures in as well, all the box art.
He put some effort into special
guest
Pete. Good work, special guest Pete. So again, if you want to hit us up at Xbox Tavern on Twitter or in the comments, or if you want to join our Discord, all the links and stuff are down below, hit us up and we will read them out next week.
I was so confused with what the fuck is Ramen Legends, and then I realized you meant Rayman.
Right, yeah, I was just going to glance over his little.
I was like, what the fuck is Ramen Legends?
You're probably watching the Chelsea game and seeing that Raheem Sterling.
I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like some sort of fucking noodle-based cooking simulator or something.
Some hidden gem right there, you know. Yeah. Right, well, that's enough for 2014. We're going to bring it back to the modern day now. Come with me to the future. We're going to talk about games we've been playing this week. We're going to start with our Project Game Pass game, which I imagine Daniel and Ross have both played extensively by this point.
I was actually waiting to speak to the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel, to get this organised.
I've been playing a lot of it alone, single player. Oh, hello, audio.
I had the wrong one.
That's a great game, but not the right one.
Yeah. So I have been playing some. I haven't played it in 2-player. I do want to play 2-player.
Dan, make it happen.
Try and see what it's like, because I feel
Wednesday night
a good
stream
comparison.
You see the levels are short enough, especially the opening couple. They're 15-20 minute time.
Well, yeah, I've got
even if you're going to do 1 or 2, you've got plenty of time to squeeze.
Where have I got to? I've done the water one.
You can fit me in on Wednesday and knock out a few.
I'm looking. Yeah, Wednesday I could probably fit you in. So I've got up to the water. You know where the water level, where you go up 3 levels and it keeps rising. So I've got past there, but I can start again Yeah, that's the trouble though. Then I know the
this is
I
the
know the
problem
answers, but then no,
with
doesn't
you
matter.
starting and with,
No,
but
worry,
again,
you can kind of sweet talk sort of Ross through those intro ones, and then just pick one of the ones you haven't done yet.
Or there's also this amazing button called mute.
Well, I could mute.
or he can just indeed join you in the fourth puzzle and just start from there.
You could.
Yeah,
True.
But yeah,
the
anyway,
game's really good.
It's a really good game, and my review I put up the other day, which I believe I gave it an 8 out of 10. And it was I really enjoyed it. Me and Gray obviously spoke about it at length at this point because we finished it, but yeah, really good game. So hopefully next week we will have got you two having some co-op play time together. That would be nice. I wonder if Ian's started it yet. I very much doubt it, but you never know. He might have been playing with his missus and doing escape puzzles as well. However, let's talk about games we have been playing that we've been playing separately or perhaps together this week. And I'm going to go to Daniel first because go on, Daniel. Tell us what you've been playing.
Why does he set himself up for it, man?
Ross, could you mute Graham while I talk about this first game? That
I
I've completed?
could, but I'm not going to. If you're asking for trouble, I'm not going to fucking help you out. No.
Well, okay. So the only reason I put this game down, I have completed the Walking Dead series. I've been playing the Walking Dead: A New Frontier. You play. Oh God, I can't even remember the character's name now.
Don't lie, Daniel.
No, I've forgotten these two characters' names. So you play as the guy on the right-hand side.
Javier.
Yeah. So it starts with his story, and then along the missions you meet up with Clementine. This is the one, if I'm correct in saying that they run out of money or the company shat the bed right near the end or halfway through doing the game, as Skybound had to come in and help finish it off. Is that correct?
No, that was the next season, the final season.
Is that the season 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
4. This is season 3.
Okay. But it's a really good game. I love the way, as always, it tells the story. It is different to another kind of story-driven game that I've played this week as well. You know what you're getting with the Telltale games. You know, do your decisions matter so much? It never feels like it's going to. It feels like you're going from A to B, and you kind of make a little squiggly line when you make a choice, and that's it. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. I played it while I was on holiday every night while the kids were in bed. It was good fun. I had fun with it.
I think.
Was there any strong couples in this one?
Yes, there were. Javier and his brother's wife with him. Very strange.
Yes, which was an interest. I don't know how your one panned out, but on my one that panned out a bit interesting.
Did it?
I think this is probably the weakest season out of all of them, but only because, and Graham's going to fucking love this, it didn't star Clementine. Like, if obviously she come in later on as like an NPC, but like season 1, season 2, you sort of like got attached to her,
the main character. Yeah,
and then you change completely, and then season 4, spoilers, but you're back playing as Clementine again, and I kind of, it felt a bit odd to not be controlling her or like following her story.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed as if in this one that she was more of a hindrance than a help, and she messed up your story as you kept going through. But yeah, I enjoy playing it because I wanted to finish the Telltale games. I want to kind of put that series to bed now. So I think I've probably got 4. I don't know which one's 4.
It's literally called the final season, I believe.
Is it? Okay, I'll have a look. I don't know.
It is on Game Pass, I think. And that is a return to form. Really good. Really, really good.
So you finally put it to bed then, yeah?
That
right,
game.
anyway, what else you been playing this week then, Dave?
So, talking about another story-driven, we know what you were getting at. Talking about another story-driven game, as Dusk Falls. Once I finished The Walking Dead, I loaded this one up using cloud gaming, and I really enjoyed it. The art style is something it's like a taste to acquire. It is a bit the way I know you mentioned this last week, kind of the stop shot graphics, and then some things move, some things don't move, like cars will move, but the people will only have like a 2 kind of movement in the scene is a bit off-putting. However, the more I played it, the more I got used to it and the more I enjoyed it. I've got like a video recording of as your choices pan out, all of a sudden you see how your kind of choices branch out, and you've always got like a, shall I do A or B? And then as the story path branches out, you're like, oh my God, if I would have gone here, there, and done that one, I'd be way up there in a, have a completely different ending. So your choices do matter. It's quite good. I'm on book 3 at the moment, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. And then it gives you your percentage as well. Have you noticed that? So as you,
the primary choice as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that I can do where I don't spoil it too much. I got to save someone, and then you saw at the end of the story or the chapter how many people actually saved that character or made that choice. Yeah. It's really, really good. I'm going to throw up a video on YouTube and show like just the path story of all the decisions that you make and how kind of expansive it is, because it's crazy to think from one choice can kind of blow off 3 or 4 different other storylines, which in those will give another 3 or 4 different storylines. Like, it's really, really impressive.
As I put in my review, there's so much depth. Like, as you said, one choice can change everything completely. Yeah. I was talking to special guest Pete about it, and one thing he did sort of was the opposite of what I did, and he got completely, like, not even just like, oh, there you went that way and I went that way. It just went completely off the rails. I was like, I didn't even know that was possible, let alone like would be an outcome that would happen. So
so many different branches off just one kind of choice. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's good that we've had kind of the Telltale game as the linear A to B, but this one has just done it on steroids, and it's just mental. It's absolutely mental.
I mean, really I have started a second playthrough, but I haven't had a chance to get back to it yet. But I definitely want to carry on, because I think I'm like halfway through chapter 2 at this point.
It's a good story. It is a really, really good story.
I like that one too. I completed that one too. It is definitely a good playthrough.
So, I did say last week where we were going to try and do a spoiler cast at some point, but obviously this week was a bit difficult. So maybe this week or the coming week after or something, we'll try and get together and have a chat. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Anything else, Daniel?
No, that is it. Apart from other odd games, but it's not even worth talking about. I do have a funny story. I went to do an achievement kind of run of the game just to complete it. So there I am, 10 minutes in, doing it. I noticed no achievements pop in. Flicked up the guide, noticed I already completed the game. I was like, well, why haven't I deleted this bloody game off my box? I was just like, what an idiot. Hilarious.
Why does that not shock me fucking slightly?
Because he actually means he completed a game, that's why.
Well, that's the most surprising part of it, yeah.
Well,
even he was shocked.
Achievos, eh?
So I've completed one game so far. Completed another one I didn't even know. Who knows next week? Who knows?
I know. Who knows? The world is your oyster, right?
Exactly.
Graham,
yes.
Do tell me, what have you been playing this week?
So I've been flipping between sort of 3 games at the moment. One is my review game called, I don't know how you pronounce it, but either Thymesia or Thymesia. And that was a misleading game because it just looks like your normal sort of dashing, hacking and slashing one, but it's a Soulsy like game, and it is hard as balls. And yeah, it plays right. It looks pretty. The graphics are quite decent, and you're this guy Corvus, who there's been
Corvus.
A plague. Corvus, that's his name. Basically, there's a plague that's happening around you. You're trying to get to the bottom of it to basically stop the plague because everyone's being corrupted and everything. And yeah, you don't really. He's just this guy, and he's lost his memory as well. So you kind of have to try and do things to gain your memory back, and it's just very strange, the actual kind of story piece. But the way the combat's done is it's got 2 elements to it. You have your normal attacks, which you're seeing on the screen at the moment. So those attacks cause something called a bleed, which means although you've got 1 health bar, as you reduce the bleed, it goes a different color. So once you're in a bleed state, you kind of have to use your claw move to take that bleed damage off, which basically is what hurts them. And then once you've completely depleted their health, then that's how you finish them off. And Yeah, there's different spirit weapons you can kind of collect as you kind of defeat enemies. If you do a strong claw move, you kind of take a version of their weapon and use it once against another enemy. There's quite a different kind of cool different things you can do with like that. You can do a feather attack, which can stun people that try to do their super attack against you. But yeah, it's very Soulsy in the fact you hit beacons as you progress through the level, and you level up as you collect enough experience to sort of get yourself a bit stronger, get certain perks. But yeah, you come to the boss, probably the first boss anyway, within an hour. And there is a couple of mini bosses, but they're nowhere near as hard. But this first boss whooped me so much. It was such a really tough last boss. And it must have taken me nigh on about 40 goes to beat this boss.
I'm about
I'm
5
not
in and
kidding.
then going off.
I did start that way first, and I thought, no, I'm reviewing this game. I have to persist. And then you find out after you finally got his health down that he's got a second bar. You have to go to the second phase of the fight, and he's got a whole new full bar. So,
It's like one of the bits where you're like, brilliant, and then the music ramps up and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, for fuck.
I was like, what do the two
Yes.
little circles mean? I wonder what that means. I wonder if it's one of his special moves. Nope, it means he's got a second bar of health. And I was like, nice, okay, so I've got to do this all again. So as with most Souls game, it's a lot of pattern memory with their attacks, and you've got to deflect a lot to sort of, because when you deflect, they also get bleed damage from the deflection, and you can take their health away if you hit them after deflecting their attacks. But yeah, 40 goes to defeat that kind of boss. And the only way I did that was I leveled up so much just kind of grinding to get up to a level where I was just about able to do it. And it was one of those, thank God for that moments. I assume that what Souls players crave after they finally beat a boss after that length of time. But yeah, that was hard work. And I managed to beat the second boss as well, which was nowhere near as hard as the first one. But the second one healed themselves constantly, which made it even more fun. But yeah,
I think the
not my
only
type
thing
of
that
games.
the only thing that's worse than a boss that heals himself is bosses that have like immune phases.
Yeah,
So they go through like some sort of metamorphosis, and then like during that whole fucking little bit, you can't hurt them. You're like,
oh no, this one is funny. He
again.
flies away to the other end of the room, starts healing himself, so you have to dash all the way to get over to him, and then he does this sort of whole area attack. So you kind of have to be on your guard whilst trying to stop him from healing himself. It was hard work anyway, but yeah, not my kind of game. These Souls games. Let's say I did it. I played it what I needed to play, but there was very little joy coming from it. A little bit of relief beating these bosses, but this isn't what I play games for. Not my style at all. But on the other hand, which I played with Jay, Rumbleverse, the new kind of release from Epic, that's way more fun, and it's kind of one of these games that I can actually get into and have got into. It's Fortnite, but with kind of wrestling moves, none of this building shit. And yeah, it's simple but effective in what it does. There's different types of moves: grapple moves, attack moves, dive moves, launching moves. So, but you don't start off with any moves. You kind of have to sort of break boxes to find your moves, find potions, and it's just great
like
fun.
picking up weapons, isn't it? So instead of picking up a gun, you pick up a choke slam or something.
Yeah, and so you can only have 2 special moves equipped at once, and they come in like 3 different tiers. So obviously the first tier, there's a weaker version of that move, and they can go up to like the 3rd tier, which is the strongest version of that move. Each move contains stamina, but if you keep spamming your move, then you run out of stamina and just leave yourself wide open to get hammered. And yeah, it's just quite addictive. The same way as what Fortnite was for a lot of people. This one is quite addictive, and even much so that my daughter sort of likes me playing it. She keeps asking me, "Are you going to play the punching guys game?" She likes watching me play this one.
Why have I not seen a TikTok with one of these clips with a JR clip over the top of it going, "Oh my God, he's killed him"?
Yeah.
Why have I not seen that?
I think commentary is something that's missing in this kind of game. That would have been funny to add that kind of level of commentary in. But the
it is
thing
good
with
fun, isn't it?
It's
I
great
have played.
fun. At the
I've
moment,
played
you
a
can
couple
only
of
do duos, and you can see why you can't do squads of 4, because that would just be absolute mental. It's annoying when you're sort of having scraps of sort of 1 or 2 people and someone else just piles in. But when you're doing 2-on-2, you just have to keep looking over your shoulder, because if you leave yourself open, you can get basically done in from the side, and you don't know who's partnering who. So you don't know if you're fighting that's a tag team or just two different people. Their buddies are waiting in the wings to sort of whack you from the side. So I can see why they've only done it as duos.
And we also found, didn't we, that we could hit each other, even though we weren't hurting each other.
Yeah.
We could interrupt. Like if I was trying to beat up the same guy as you and I accidentally punched you, it would just interrupt your move.
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever.
Which no, it's not clever. It's fucking annoying.
It's annoying and clever at the same time.
But then also you can lure people in by fighting each other, and then you can turn around and go, ha ha,
ha ha, fuck you.
You couldn't normal punch each other. Your special moves seem to kind of collide with each other, but you couldn't sort of. Yeah, I'm not sure if you could fake it that way as such. You could try, I guess.
But yeah, it's not. See, an ideas man, like we kept saying.
Told you, I'll give you the ideas, and you can go flourish.
But now that the game's been fully released as well, we're hoping that there's more things to come. There's loads of different outfits and bits you can do, but at the moment there's only one super special move that you can do. So you build up your special meter, and it does an attack that does 3/4 of your health bar down, approximately. And so if you get caught in one of those, chances are if you've lost a little bit of health, you could get downed in one move. But it's the same move for anyone. It's like the spinning Zangief pile driver, which everyone kind of does. But so I'm hoping that that's something that they change in, and just even if it's the same thing, just slightly different animation, because it's a bit boring seeing the same thing over and over again.
I did scroll through the battle pass that I picked up the other day, and I thought there'd be moves in there, but it's just skins and like trinkets and stuff. There's no new finishes in there, which is a shame, because we could definitely do with something a bit more interesting than a fucking pile driver.
It's not going to do any more damage. It's just going to rehash the way it looks to do said damage.
Yeah,
yes, I mean the thing could be exactly the same. Go up in the air, land down, because that's kind of what the move is. But just something, a different animation, so it's not the same spinning pile driver each time.
We've got a couple of videos dropping on the 23rd and 24th of Rumbleverse.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. And wins, hopefully.
I recommend that one because that's good. And I've got, I think it's 2 or 3 victories already. I had it to go earlier as well, and I came second. So it's good. You can get an opportunity to win these ones, and totally recommend it.
Anything else?
No, I'll leave it there. I won't spoil you with my other one I've been playing.
Just what mode? Tell me what mode you got to try.
I got a fucking trailer ready and everything for it.
That's okay.
I got time.
This one, yeah. So I've got the beta version of FIFA 23. So I've been dabbling in that. I've got the Ultimate Team play mode on that one. You
got that last year as well, you Jamie, didn't you?
I did. So I had the live seasons as well. So every day at 6 p.m. they give you like 3 packs to play with. So I've already got like a monster squad already, and they've improved the chemistry this time. So where they're placed in the team no longer connects players.
So I got to ask you, but is it improved the chemistry or made it more convoluted?
Both. So
yeah, because I've seen a lot of mixed messages about this.
Put it this way, you can get a maximum of 33 stars, which is basically the maximum chemistry. So each player can get up to 3 stars based on country, club, location, and their correct position. If you play someone out of their position, they get no stars regardless. So that
but they don't then get a negative.
There's no negative thing. They just don't get a boost to their stats. It's the whole thing. So it says, even if you don't get a boost to your stats, play your players that you want to play with. It just means they won't get a slight boost to their stats, but you can still play with your dream team, basically. So I've got a team which is like mostly Premier League as such, with the left side and the right back and left back. But I've got a goalie that's like Donnarumma, Marquinhos, and like Ramos, but with like Messi and Mbappe up front, with Ronaldo and Salah. And so my chemistry is at 30 at the moment, with a mixed hybrid of like the League One and Premiership team. I've got 30 out of 33 stars with that team. It's got De Bruyne in the middle with Verratti from PSG, and it's kind of because there's a lot of PSG players in there. My chemistry is at 30 with that kind of monster Premier League and League One kind of squad. So yeah, so the main difference is obviously most FIFA players say it looks exactly the same as last year. For the most part, it is very similar. Major things I can notice: the sprites look a tiny bit smaller, so the game looks more open. The through balls are a lot more wiser, the players make that last ditch run a bit more more savvy. But it's more attack heavy than defense heavy, I'd say at the moment. But it's just a smidgen slower than the previous game as well.
Okay. And then some players have got 2 positions, haven't they? So Cancelo,
More than
they've
2
been saying-
positions. So you can no longer sort of bluff a centre defensive mid into a striker by going through all the position icons. There is no positional card. It's just one. So you just apply it to a person, and you can only play the positions that they can play.
Yeah.
So some person might only have that one position, and you can't change their position. But whereas Messi, for example, he can either play right wing or a striker. So that's the 2. When you
There's
apply
2
the card, you can
positions.
pick one of those 2. Sterling can play either left side or right side, so you can pick one of those 2. So it works in that kind of way.
Okay.
Fabinho for Liverpool can play as a centre back or as a central defensive mid.
Right.
So those are the things you can kind of mix up. So with the positional things. So it's quite cool that they've done it that way. So there are some neat elements, but yeah. I mean, I'll spare Jay most of the.
Yeah.
Any
Sorry, I just wanted to know.
She's sitting there. Like this.
I was going to see if I could down this entire beer before we finish, but I'll ask one more question. So it's obviously the beta. How did you get into it, and does your progress transfer over to the full game?
No, if they did, it would be so unfair.
There would be
for them to
so
transfer.
much rage if that
I
was.
assume they're giving you like the good stuff while you're in the beta. They're not like
Well, they're not deliberately. They're just giving you these packs that are like everyone's over 83 and you get 24 of them. The chances are you're going to get someone decent each time, and you can build super squads. They encourage you to build they're trying to get you to play with the chemistry of the super squads basically.
Yeah. And when's the game out?
29th of September, I believe.
Or if you buy the Ultimate, you get it 3 days early.
Yeah, something like that. A few, but at the end of September anyway.
And so when I didn't get the other answer, I don't think. How did you get into the beta? Did you sign up somewhere, or was it like
no, you don't have to sign up. It's just previous kind of FIFA players just got randomly selected to kind of play through it. I don't know what criteria it's chosen. You just get kind of selected to play. Usually, you only get like one version of the game to sort of trial. And I got the Ultimate Team the last time, and I've got it again this time. But they every now and then they give you.
I'd get Volta
as well. I assume if they Volta, that'd be unfair. The more sort of I guess feedback you give them, the more likely they are to pick you again, because it's still kind of like giving them some insight of how you feel about it, whether you really like something or don't like something. And there are some new things in there which are quite good. There's a super hard slide tackle which you'd like.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh yes, right, I'm back in. Right,
yeah.
Carry on.
Hold the right bumper and the slide button. It just literally just slams straight through, regardless. It's not just a weak slide anymore. You get some good old
proper. So I meant to say, Gray. Obviously they introduced this new the shooting mechanic as well. So obviously LBRB was your low driven shot now, but they've changed it to a power shot. So how does that work? Do you notice a difference, or?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me, because I think it feels a little bit arcadey to be added in, because it kind of it zooms in a tiny little bit and you see a bar appear, and it takes so long to build up. You need at least 2 seconds to be able to pull off the hard shot. Yeah. There's no guarantee it's going to go in, and it is a good hard shot. I mean, it looks wicked when you pull it off, and the goalie just kind of spins it, and it could go anywhere. Sometimes it does go in, sometimes they hit it onto the bar and stuff. So there's a lot more good sort of collisions with the ball. But yeah, to wind it up looks a little bit cheesy, and it takes a while to pull off.
The way that you're describing it there by zooming in or a power bar, do you ever play Adidas Predator Soccer?
No, I don't.
It reminds me of that, when you had you built up your Predator bar, and then when you activated it, it's the camera zoomed into the ball. It's when your foot was just about to strike it, and it was the unsavable shot, when you unleashed it.
It almost looks something like that as well.
Yeah,
but it's just you're so easy to knock off the ball when you're trying that. It's not everyone can see that. Okay, he's going to go for a power shot. You can see him winding up and the line appearing as that. Yeah, all you have to do is just hard slide that smegger off the ball, and you've got enough time to try and do it. It's one of those ones you kind of do an arrogance thing. You've got enough time that you're going to have sort of super well yet.
And then the only other thing that I wanted to double check with you, what's the new set pieces with obviously you position on where the football is, and you've got the arrow and things like that. So how does that work out there?
Log stick after the ball. So I assume if you ever played like a PGA golf game where you have the little ball and you got the little dot in the ball where
you select where you want to hit the ball and how it affects the.
There, you got that spin. You put it there. You got the reverse spin, and so you can you're setting the position beforehand, so where you want to curl it, and then you just hold.
So, do you expect to see a lot more sort of free kick goals playing like Ultimate Team, Champions, Rivals, stuff like this year?
Yeah. So I've managed to score about 4 free kicks already, which is about 2 more than what I've done completely in the last game since my whole time playing it.
Yeah.
So I wholly expect you to be able to score more free kicks. They've done an extra piece in it called Moments, which is
that looks quite intriguing as well. Yeah,
it's like a little mini section where it says score this free kick, and basically you just go into the game straight into a free kick, and you just take as many goes to score that free kick as you want.
I seen that
using the players from your own team.
There was a YouTuber who put up a video, the FIFA analyst, and he had basically said that like this Moments is almost like a tutorial mode. So you can jump into it and like you say, score a free kick, and you're not penalised for like setting it to amateur, and then you score the free kick. Oh, cool.
Because when you do them, you get stars. You trade stars for packs.
Yeah, but what you're saying is you it's repeatable, so you can go from like you can constantly work up to try and get better at it. Dan, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you can increase the difficulty and you get more stars for it, and you can go from like amateur, semi-pro to professional. The harder you make it, the more stars you earn, and you can trade the stars for packs. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But you can practice doing free kicks and penalties that way.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, it's pretty good. But that's your fault for the questions.
I know, questions are our downfall. But it's interesting information ahead of the release in September.
What I find hilarious is Dan's getting ratty about it, and he's the one that's bought the ultimate edition of the bloody game.
I only asked one question, and then I was just doing. Jay was there. He looked at his beer, he rolled his eyes, and he downed it. So I went, I've only got water. I haven't got a beer. I'll have to drink it.
It's all on you. I was happy.
I've got this to get me through the show. I'm good.
Yes, good choice. Right. Well, let's go to you now, Ross, shall we? And you can tell us about another sports game you've been playing.
I like how your segue will work on this one as well. So I've finally jumped in to properly play some Turbo Golf Racing, and this game's fantastic. It's absolutely hilarious. As I think we've said loads of times, and as you can see by the clip, it is Rocket League. It's brilliant. Like I think what you were alluding to earlier on when we were talking about another game that could maybe benefit from having a collision system and things like that in it, is this here. You've got all your different types of. You got all your different types of like golf balls that you get different styles of. So like it starts off with this futuristic one. I've got a baseball at the moment. You get footballs, basketballs, loads of different things. You've got all these different attachments that you can stick onto your car and make them look differently. You've got like different like the same way Rocket League, like your boosters, you can have them in different colours and animations when you set them off. Brilliant game, really good online. It's sort of kind of A to B. You start off at the tee and then you have to work your way through the map to get the ball in the hole. As G was saying, adding in some sort of collision system. Maybe not even like you can hit an opposition player's ball, but even just like you can hit the opposition cars would add to it. It's literally just you focusing on what you have to do. So there's no like you see a guy going to knock a ball into the hole and you can't like sideswipe him to send him flying so that it doesn't get the shot off. So you only really ever need to focus on what you're doing. So I feel like if you add in being able to crash into the opponents or knock them out of place, it would make it a bit more hilarious and add an extra layer to the game. But the maps are pretty fun.
Even the rockets that you can get to hit the players, they don't really do much, do they? They just kind of make
they cause like they're like an annoyance. They're like a Diddy version of the blue shell from Mario. They make your car flip upside once and then you land and you can drive off again.
You just carry on as you were.
You lose maybe like half a second at most. You can time it so that like you can aim yourself like the direct, because you get like a beep 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 as it gets closer. You can sort of line yourself up to where you want to go, so that even when the rocket hits you, you're still heading in the direction that you want to go, even when you land. So yeah, there's not like the collisions part is the only weakness that I've come across on it. The actual playing the game is fantastic. The maps are really cool. You've got some really simplistic maps where Dan would excel, where you can't really go wrong. And then you've got ones where there's certain parts where only certain ways that you go actually lead to the hole. Sometimes if you think you're going down a path, it actually just falls off a cliff. So then you learn, obviously, you're screwed if you go down that way. But no, it's brilliant, fun game so far. Definitely one that I feel like it would be better if you're playing in a group.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But no, really enjoying it so far, and really recommend you jump in, part of Game Pass. So definitely worth even 15-20 minutes of your time.
How are you finding actually aiming, hitting the ball? Because I found, although it's straightforward, you drive towards it and you've got the arrows sort of showing you you're going to hit it. A lot of the time, I'd get to the ball and have a very slight change of direction, and the arrow goes
like from there
like
to there.
The fuck?
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it was quite hard to actually get an accurate aim all the time.
I quite like the physics that you've got in it. So obviously, like I'll do this. If like that's your ball there and you hit it straight on, it only goes straight. But if you hit it at the middle of the ball, but from an angle, that generates spin.
Yeah.
So even though you're hitting it straight, when it lands, it starts then curving off the direction that you've hit it from.
Yeah.
So that physics is not too bad. But I do get what you mean. Like if you're lining it up, and you go, oh, I realize I just need to go like maybe a slightly a little bit this way, and then you turn it that way, then your ball goes like there.
Yeah.
Fuck, how did that happen?
Completely the wrong direction. Like,
yeah. So it's a little bit temperamental in that, but then the other side of it is like this adding the spin and things like that. The physics on that is really quite good.
Yeah, it's a good game. And like you said, I would like to get us all together with Ian and some of the other Xbox Tavern lads and lasses, even from the Discord or from the site and stuff, and have a game, because it's up to 8 players if I'm not mistaken.
It's really good game.
Yeah, I think it would be good fun in a group. I haven't really gone back to it since I put my preview up of it, but yeah, definitely like to give it another go. Cool. Anything else?
No, my Turbo Golf is how I've been playing. I could bore you with more Football Manager, but I feel like you're getting sick of it, so I'll wait for a couple of weeks and then I'll give you an update on that.
Give us an update when you're in League One or something. All right. Anyway, while you've been playing Turbo Golf Racing, I've been slightly having a bit worse time, but not really, playing Cursed to Golf. So this is a 2D golf game which takes very simple arcadey style golf mechanics. So you got three clubs. Sorry, you got a wedge, an iron, and a driver, and it's much like old sort of Mega Drive games. You press the button to set the power, and it starts going up and down, up and down. You stop it where you want it, and then the aiming arrow comes up, and you stop where you want it, and you hit the shot. Easy enough, simple. Anyone can understand that. Piece of piss to play. However, the levels themselves are fucking hard as balls. So it's like a roguelike. So you have to get from hole 1 to hole 18 in one go in order to escape and complete the game. So far, I think I've managed to make it to about hole 13 before I failed. But the levels themselves are randomly generated every time. So you start off in an area which is like all greens and lakes and pretty simple courses, but because the levels are, like I said, randomly generated, you can't just go back to hole 1 and be like, well, I know how to beat that one now, I'll just do this again. It's all mixed and matched and stuff. And then by the time you get to the third area, there's 4 areas in total. It just adds in spikes and lasers and all sorts of other traps, which are just fucking nightmare to deal with. But in order to help yourself get through these levels, you get these things called ace cards. And so they're one-use things which will either grant your ball the ability of fire or ice, or let it turn into a rocket, give you an extra couple of shots, turn it into multi-ball. There was one that gives you a portal, which lets you hit the ball from where you are, and then you can place a portal within a certain range around you. So you could skip through a level or two of the level itself. And I quite like the card for that one, because it says now you're playing with, and it's like, nice little portal reference there. I like that. But even though I'm not generally a fan of roguelikes, I really enjoyed this. My review went up today. I gave it an 8.5. And even though it's hard, because like I said, I haven't actually got to the end of the 18th hole yet, it when the levels are just fun to play, because every time you start, you get 5 shots, and every time you take a shot, it goes down. But then most of the holes take 15, 20 shots to do, so you can get more shots by hitting these idols that are dotted around the level, or you can use one of the ace cards, which gives you more shots to give it a go. And it's almost like a puzzle game. You've got to try and figure out the best way to go from A to B without just, right, I've got to hit it, I've got to hit it, I've got to hit it. You've got to be tactical on where you hit it or how you hit it, or you can use one of the cards to, for example, blow up some TNT, which will then give you a shortcut. But if you haven't got the TNT card, you can hit it with a ball and hope that it doesn't get blown up and flown off into a random direction. Or another one, for example, was there was vines, and I could have gone all the way around the vines to get past them, or set my ball on fire and hit them into the vines and just burn my way through and save myself 3 or 4 shots getting past it. It's very clever and it's very tricky, but fair at the same time. Like I've failed. I've tried to get through to the end several times already, but I failed every time. But it's never been because the game, like randomness, cheated me out of it. It's because I didn't use the right card, or I tried to be a bit too brave on a shot and completely balls it up and screw myself over.
This not the roguelike.
It's really good.
Not the roguelike element of it, but this sounds like a mobile game called Super Stickman Golf.
Do you know what? Actually, yes, it's very similar to.
And
Super
it's got the
Stickman,
same
yeah.
idea. Like you can unlock like sticky balls, or like a ball that when it hits water, it turns it to ice, so you can do it. Or you can control like time, so like you hit the shot and then you like slow down time if it's going off the green.
Yeah,
It's very similar sort of idea to that you can add sort of modifiers to how the game plays.
Yeah, and it plays very much like Super Stickman. Like I said, with setting the power and then setting the angle and stuff.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's because Super Stickman is just set courses, isn't it? Whereas this one, like I said, randomizes the courses.
Yeah.
And stuff. The very first card I think you get is one that stops your ball midair, so you hit it over some water and you can stop it and it just drops straight down, so it doesn't go too far off the map. And I think there's over 20 cards in total, and I've seen most of them. And you can build up a big library of them, because being a roguelike, because you start at sort of hole 1. Once you clear that, then you've got 2 paths. You can go to, either go straight to hole 2, or you can go off the other way and maybe pick up some coins or some other cards, and then go to the hole, which will give you more cards, obviously. Or there's a shop called Eternity, which spelt like golf tee type thing, where you can buy cards, or you can store like if you're particularly fond of a card, or if you've got loads of one type, you can store a certain amount of cards in this shop, so that on your next run you've already got a bank of cards to use. You haven't got to try and build them up again. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. There's also cursed levels as well, being set in golf purgatory. If you choose to go one way, you'll get a level where every third shot you take, for example, they'll add a stipulation. So it might be there's a stronger wind, so your ball won't go as far, or your view will be right zoomed in on the player, so you can't really see where you're aiming. So you've got a bit more luck to try and actually get it where you want to aim it. And those levels are tough, but they're the sort of punishment, if it, as it were, for going for the extra cards or the extra money and stuff on the way up to the end of the level. And there's 4 biomes, and at the end of each biome there's a boss battle. And they're the part of the game that I didn't really like so much, why I knocked it down a few marks, because as I said, the levels themselves can take 15-20 shots, but it's just you playing. And if you've got enough cards, or if you're smart about it, you can do it a bit quicker. Whereas this, it's you playing and an AI boss, and you're taking it in turns, and they can take 20-25 turns each. And you can fast forward it, but it just drags it out a bit too long. And if you fail right at the end, that's like 20-25 minutes that you've lost. And then you've got to start right the way back from hole 1 again, because unless you once you beat the first boss, you get 1 single checkpoint you can use to sort of come back to where you were. But other than that, if you fail, you go all the way back to hole 1. And I haven't failed on a boss yet. Like I said, I failed many times, but not on a boss. But I was playing one of them yesterday, and no word of a lie, it took me 20 minutes, and it would come down to my last shot. If I'd missed it, they would have like knocked it in, and then I would have had to do the whole fucking thing again, which is frustrating, because the actual general golf play is a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a good game. It's a really good game. Just the boss battle's not quite as enjoyable. And yeah, well worth checking out. We played it at EGX Grad. Not EGX, sorry, WASD. I don't know if you remember.
See, you only played one game at EGX.
Yeah, remember we played it in the WASD booth at the Curve Digital one. I can't hear him.
Yeah, no, I have had a quick go of it as well. I do remember playing it at WAS, but yeah, it's fun and tricky at the same time. Sometimes there's multiple holes to aim for as well. So yeah.
Yes. And sometimes there's even trick holes, which I learned the other day. I knocked it into holes like that was easy, and then it just ate my ball and gave me -1 shot. So I was like,
great. I look forward to getting to that bit then.
I was going to pass comment on something, but I don't. Yeah,
it's like
from that. Super Stickman Golf does something similar. Whereas if you manage to get it in the hole without touching the sides, you lose a stroke as well. That's what happens if you manage to swish it, as it says, which is not touching the sides and just dropping it straight in the hole. You get a shot taken off because it was such an impressive shot.
I mean, it's always impressive. But anyway, let's move on from that. Other than that, I've just been playing a bit of Rumbleverse with Grey, like we said. Really enjoying it. And yeah, it's good alternative to things like Fortnite and Apex and stuff like that. And yeah, and I've got one more game I can talk about next week, which I've been playing today, which, well, I can't say anything else, but so far, don't tell anyone, but thumbs up. Right. Okay, that's all we've been playing this week. Thank you very much. Let's get on to the rest of the show, shall we? As Ross alluded to earlier on, we've got plenty of reviews that have gone up on the site, including, like I said, my Cursed Golf review 8.5. Annihilation by Grey review went up. You give it 6.5. And Arcade Paradise by Corey gave it an 8. Very high on that one. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but it looks pretty interesting. It's like turning the laundromat into an arcade. And playing lots of weird arcade games based on sort of historic franchises. Looks pretty interesting.
Looks pretty cool.
But you can go check them out on xboxtavern.com right now. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much. However, if you're just looking for things that you want to perhaps use your Xbox Game Pass subscription for before Death Stranding comes to the PC version in a couple of days, why don't you tell us about Game Pass additions, please, Ross?
So we've got I've moved it because I've deleted the title because I'm an idiot. So
I was like, who does it? Who does it?
I was like, what where does it win? So one from last week, Coffee Talk, which is on console, PC, cloud, which was August 16th, and then these are ones coming up this week. So we've got Midnight Fight Express on console, PC, August 23rd. Death Stranding, as Jay was saying, on PC on August 23rd. Exapunks on PC on August 25th. Opus Echo of Starsong Full Bloom Edition on console and PC August 25th. Commandos 3 HD Remaster console, PC, cloud August 30th. Immortals Phoenix Rising, which I've heard good things about, but I've never actually jumped into, so that'll be one to look forward to at the end of the month, which is console, PC, and cloud on August 30th. Tinykin on console, PC, August 30th. And then one that I can imagine Jay is quite looking forward to, because I know it's very up his street in regards to an interactive story game, is Immortality on console and PC, which is August 30th as well.
Yes, so the Edge's review of that come out a couple of last week or so. They give it 10.
Yeah, I've seen good things about it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't really like Sam Barlow's last couple of games. I couldn't really get into them, but
I think we were speaking about it after the very first time we seen As Dusk Falls. Was that the Xbox Bethesda showcase, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Immortality was announced very similar sort of time frame. And I think we both said that both of them were something that would be right up our streets in regards to that sort of interactive story. But I think Immortality caught my eye more. And as you say, with the art style of As Dusk Falls is the thing that held me back a wee bit on it, whereas Immortality looks right up my street.
Like live action stuff.
Yeah.
One game I do want to call out there is Coffee Talk. Definitely worth playing that. I reviewed that a while back, and it's basically like a narrative adventure again, but almost like a visual novel, basically. But you're like a bartender, a coffee barista, I should say, and the characters are pretty interesting. The story's it gets a bit weird towards the end, but it's good. And there's a sequel coming out, I think, in a couple of months. So yeah, definitely go check that one out. It's an enjoyable game. However, it's not all good news, unfortunately, because as much as we've got stuff coming to Game Pass, there's shit leaving too. And I'm going to go to Daniel to fill in for Ian's role, seeing as he's in the field getting dirty somewhere. Daniel, tell me all about things that are leaving us.
Let me try and fill Ian's big shoes. Right, August 31st.
Wait.
Hey.
Things are leaving. So we've got Elite Dangerous on console and cloud. Hades is leaving, and that's console, PC, and cloud. Myst is leaving console, PC, and cloud. NBA 2K22, console and cloud. I'm not even going to mention where they're going off from, because what's the point? Signs of the, oh my God, Sojourner.
Yeah, close
Sojourner. There we go. Spirit Feria, that's leaving. You've got 12 Minutes, which was a really good game. Make sure you play that. 2 Point Hospital, What Remains of Edith Finch, and you've got World War Z. Remember, if you want to pick these up, you get 20% off if you pick them up before they leave Game Pass.
I must admit, that's some big games like going out. Like maybe not triple A's, but I mean like Elite Dangerous, Hades, Myst, NBA 2K22, 12 Minutes, 2 Point, What Remains of Edith Finch, and World War Z are all fantastic games. Obviously, I think it's at 2 Point Campus, did I say? Has just came into Game Pass. So obviously that's like for like, so that gives you that sort of fix. But yeah, if you haven't played them, what our show will go live tomorrow, so it'll be 22nd. If you haven't played them when the show goes live, you've got a week to play them still. Definitely jump into. I think unanimous Hades is a great game to jump into.
Oh yes.
12 Minutes again, another great game to jump into. I've played the PC version of Elite Dangerous. Jump into that. That's a great game as well. I don't know how it will translate to console. And then I think What Remains of Edith Finch is Jay. You're quite high on that one, or was it?
Oh yes, fucking brilliant game.
So again, another one to definitely jump in. And World War Z, if you've got a group of people, is a fantastic zombie horde mode type idea. Think a more simplistic zombie version of Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead. Get from A to B, loads of zombies to murder through the whole map. Great for co-op. Some jump scares and things like that. But no, some brilliant games coming out of Game Pass this month. So definitely jump into them before they disappear.
Oh yes, definitely. I'll back you up. Like I said, what Remains of Edith Finch and World War Z, I really enjoyed them. And yeah, unfortunate, but it is how it goes. But you never know. That some of them might come back. The Yakuza series has just come back to Game Pass a couple of weeks ago, isn't it, Grace? So we could end up with a couple of these games back on the service down the line. However, Graham.
Yes.
If you like fucking Game Pass, what a waste of time. I just want to play Xbox games with gold while it's still available. Why don't you tell us what we're gonna have available to us?
What you have is Calico from August 1st to 31st, Scourgebringer from August 16th to September 15th, and Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine from August the 16th to the 31st.
Nice. So again, good games there. Go check them out. They're free. And if you don't play them now, you can play them in 20 years when your kids grow up and you'll be like, Dad, I remember these games. And you're like, well, let's go check them out. Right. I believe that's the end of the show. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. I used to read these headlines you guys used to put. Apparently, no, well.
No,
Let's move on. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you made this far, you're a fucking hero. I love you very much, and we really appreciate you listening or watching or however you're consuming our wonderful Xpod Tavern episode 90 of content. You can find us on Twitter at Xbox Tavern and YouTube and all other stuff. Just ask Jeeves, Xbox Tavern, they'll tell you where we are. And if he doesn't, give him a backhand and say, oi, sort it out. I've been Jamie, I suppose, and you can follow me at EnXan on Twitter. And you can find our good friend Daniel at
Chocolate Bear 80
and Scottish Gruff Ross.
At Scottish Gruff, yep.
Easy enough. And Graham.
At Graham Reaper.
Thank you very much for listening. We will see you next week for episode 91st, where we shall discuss Gamescom and all other whatever news the week may bring. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Guten Hagen.
See you later.
See you later, folks. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.